Joining us now out of Belfast is Mr. Saeb Shaath, author and Middle East affairs expert. Hello, sir. Pleasure to have you back on the program. Now, Mr. Shaath, I should just ask you, please tell me, nowhere in the world can you hear anyone try to justify killing nearly 50 people, most of them children, in a school bus. But here you have Riyadh trying to make this justification, saying it was, quote, legitimate. Please tell us how, in anyone's eyes, such an attack could be legitimate.
The whole war is unparalleled war in human history. When you hear a brass neck like the Saudi spokesman and justifying, and he said this actions and this massacre practically is legitimate, and then trying to accuse the Yemeni of using their own children as a human shield as he is trying. The Saudis and the Emiratis all along did hire so many mercenaries, rogue security companies, armies, private armies, black water security companies, and it brought in tens or 20 even of different countries, national armies and forces from Sudan, Senegal, Morocco, and supported by the United States of America, state-of-the-art weaponry, while the United States of America fueling the Saudis' air fighters, jets in the skies over Yemen, and the Israeli generals imposing the naval blockade on Yemen in the service for the Israelis. Al-Qaeda, Daesh, all the Takfiri groups to help and to serve the Emiratis and the Saudis. And then on the other side of this, with even some Western powers supplying all kind of weaponry, and its corporate media is playing and paying lip service to the Saudis and whitewashing the Saudis' crimes in Yemen. And on the other hand, we can see there is the Yemeni army armed with, and this revolutionary committees armed with a few old Soviet weaponry from the 80s and 70s, and they're developing their missiles and improving it, and they're trying to manufacture some drones which they used it against the Saudis. And they are armed with a will of steel to stop the Saudis' aggression against their country. This 4 years old war, which is brought mayhem on the Yemenis. We witnessed massacre after massacre. The Saudis attacked weddings halls, they attacked funerals, wakes, attacked school, kindergartens, market, what you call. In Yemen, they attacked. They didn't stop. All of that, they wanted to impose on the Yemeni army and in the Yemeni Revolutionary Committee so much pressure to blame the suffering of the people of Yemeni on the people who are standing in the face of aggression. And they're failing. All of that is telling you what? Telling you the Saudis are defeated in Yemen. The Saudis didn't achieve anything except bringing mayhem and massacres and genocide to Yemen.
I don't mean to cut you off, but we don't have that much time left. In less than a minute, sir. Okay, the United Nations has this thing called the Security Council. I'm sure you're well aware. So if the Security Council is unable to bring security to the women and children and ordinary civilians of Yemen, then what's the purpose of this council? Please tell me.
Red Cross has called for the protection of civilians during conflict. And in here, I don't think the Security Council will do anything because the Saudis is going to be shielded by the United States of America and other Western powers in there. They tried before in the Security Council, and actually the Security Council came heavy against the Yemeni people, but not supporting them. It's all depends now on human rights organization to expose their governments who are supplying the Saudis with that weapon who's killing the Yemenis. And it's up to the public opinion now to move, to demand their countries to respect the human rights. I wondered, like when we hear lately the tit-for-tat retaliation between Canada and Saudi Arabia. Where is the Canadian position on the war of Yemen, the genocide committed in Yemen? When Canada can take all of these actions because of the few human rights being detained in Saudi Arabia. What about the hundreds, the 15,000 being killed in Yemen? The whole country is being destroyed. So there is double standards exist in the Western world, which we suppose to make clear to the public their governments are involved in such war, and they're supposed to demand from the government to stop supporting Saudi Arabia.
I want to thank you for joining us, Mr. Saeb Shaath, and for your perspective one more time on the program. Out of Belfast, joining us, author and Middle East affairs expert. Thank you, sir.